Write the Book Now.
Interview and podcast show.
Podcast show?
Podcast show.
Dr. Sharon H. Porter believes she encourages anyone that's contemplating becoming a published author
to go ahead and write the book now.
Dr. Sharon H. Porter.
Thank you for joining the Write the Book Now interview and podcast show. This is your host, Dr. Sharon. My guest today is Zaundra Grant. Zaundra is a certified John Maxwell team coach. She earned a Bachelor's of Science degree as well as a Master's in Business Administration. Zaundra was married for 11 years and has been divorced for almost 10 years. She is the mother of 2 young men, ages 21 and 15. The oldest son attending college at a historically black college, and the youngest is in high school. Zaundra is still managing a full-time career in corporate America while building up her divorce recovery coaching business, Major Mark. Having been a divorce recovery coach for over 6 years, she recently published a #1 best-selling book, Better Than Okay.
Thinking about writing a book? Then with Dr. Sharon H. Porter.
This is Dr. Sharon, the host and creator of the Write the Book Now interview and podcast show. I am joined today by author Zaundra Grant. I am so absolutely excited to have you, Ms. Grant. How are you today?
Thank you so much, Dr. Sharon. I am wonderful, thanks.
Very good. And so Zaundra Grant is the author of Better Than Okay. And Zaundra, we have just heard all of these wonderful things that you've done and things that you're doing, but please tell our listeners who Zaundra Grant really is.
You know, Zaundra Grant is still evolving. Zaundra has come a mighty long way and is so very thankful. I'm the mother of 2 young men. I am still working in corporate America like most. You know, I have a Bachelor's of Science, I have an MBA, and yet I was really, really working to figure out what is my purpose? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? And I was absolutely humbled and in disbelief over the answer that I received because I just did not think that being a divorce recovery coach was my path. I just felt like, you know, this is just something that I'm doing to give back because I saw what God did for me, and I enjoy and appreciate being able to give that to other people or help other people on that journey. And then realizing that, oh, that's my purpose. That's why I'm here. Okay. So I am me. I'm totally real. I keep it completely real. And everybody has a story, Dr. Sharon. And it's my purpose to help people through that difficult part of their journey. That's who I am.
Awesome. And in your book, Better Than Okay, you really are providing tools and strategies for anyone that's navigating through that difficult time of divorce. That is a extremely difficult transition, I'm sure. And so can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you offer? Not everything, because we want them to buy the book. So what are some of the tools and strategies or some of the things that perhaps you actually had to go through, because this is why you're doing what you're doing, because you actually went through this?
Right, absolutely. I'm happy to share just a little bit, not everything, but certainly just a little bit. So what I will say is this, Dr. Sharon, is that in the book, I wrote the book not to just, it was a very uncomfortable place to be in. And I wrote the book in order to help people understand that there's hope for you. It's not the end of the world. It's challenging, yes, but it's not impossible. It's very doable. And in the book, I share, as difficult and as challenged as I was with being so transparent, I share my story, not from a place of standing in my story, but from a place of standing on my story in an effort to help other people. And I share my truth. I share the difficulty, you know, the thoughts that I was having that most of us don't want to admit to having, you know, all the negativity, the guilt, the negative self-talk that I was hearing and that I internalized and inflicted on myself and quickly began speaking it to me. And so me was listening, and so me was responding also. And so I share in the book, you know, just that difficult space because nobody wants to talk about that. You know, we go through all this training to get married, and when you get divorced, you just get dumped, you know, and that's when we really need some help. And so in the book, I share my darkest day, that day where all I could do was scream in agony from my darkest and deepest place of hurt, of disappointment, of disapproval, of humiliation, embarrassment, all the anxiety and fear and guilt for myself, for people that knew me, for my children, for my parents, for my siblings. I just felt all that weight on me, and that's what most of us have, because nobody ever marries with the mind that, I might get divorced, and then the minute you're in that, you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't happen to me. This happens to other people. This happens to him and her and him, not me. And then you look up, and you're in this place, and I don't just share, in the book, I don't just share in a way that might make some people feel good. I share in a way to connect with people who have been molested, connect with people who have had an affair, or connect with people who have been misled and taken advantage of. So it's on all those levels. And then sharing with you the details on not how I got through it, but how he brought me through it and the journey for that.
Wow.
And so, as a result of this, I developed programs that I wished was around when I was going through it, right? And so everything from 7-day challenges to a 21-day boot camp to I'm writing a workbook right now. To be used by groups and churches and individuals as well. And I still do my one-on-one coaching, but all of it is just to help people along the journey, because you can do it by yourself, but I want to prevent people from making some of the same missteps. I'm not going to call them mistakes, because I certainly learned and grew from them, but I want to help people not take the missteps that are not necessary.
I love it. So tell me, and you were married for 11 years prior to, as you call it, the breakdown of your marriage. So how did that length of time, because that's a long time, it's not like a year or two, 11 years, that's some vested time. How did that play a part in the whole process?
Well, the breakdown didn't start in year 11. The breakdown started in year 7. And I was in disbelief. I was like, no. But you know how you see the writing on the wall, and then it's just like, well, wait a minute. Now what am I going to do? How am I supposed to handle this? And then so you spend time in denial, then you spend time in acceptance, and then you spend time trying to figure out, how do I have this conversation? And so it was really, hindsight being 20/20, it was more like preparation. I'm not, and the thing that people fail to realize is that when you're married, you're not the same person in year 7 that you were in year 1 or 2.
Absolutely.
And and when you go through divorce, you're not the same person. You're certainly not the same person you were when you got married. And even as you're walking through the divorce, you're not the same person you were when you filed or got served. You are morphing through this thing in a speed and at a rate that the sad thing is that usually for couples, there's one couple that's going to grow through it, and there's one person that's going to get stuck. And it's so unfortunate. I've been a divorce recovery coach now for 6 years, and it can happen that that's not the case. It can certainly happen. Don't get me wrong.
Wow.
And I enjoy and appreciate coaching men and women, because here's the deal. My sons have a father, right? And my goal is to help men better understand how to be present for their kids, because I watch mine. But clearly I can't coach their dad. So I want to help men realize and figure out how to show up better. First of all, there's so many divorced individuals out there that have not done the work. So they're hurting and bouncing from relationship to relationship to relationship, and they can't figure out why nothing works. It's because you never unpacked the bags from the marriage. You never healed from that divorce. And so that's what I want to do. I want to support people and help them. Of course, people have to be ready to do the work. And so that's my focus, men and women.
Wow. And you mentioned doing the work, and you say that if you're willing to do the work, that you can not settle for being just okay, that you can be better than okay. So let's talk a little bit about the work that has to take place to recover from a divorce.
Mm-hmm. It's real. It's hurtful. It's more internalizing. It's no longer pointing your finger at the other person. It's accepting the role you play in the divide.
Taking the blame out. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Yes.
But it's also not accepting blame for things that you shouldn't. You know, it's totally removing the blame. It's, you know what, here's where I know. Now, this is not anything that as you write your list that you have to go and share with anybody. This is between you and you. But this is owning your issues. This is getting clear and writing your issues down and owning that. And then deciding now that I understand this, what am I going to do about this? And that's a choice that we all make. We make a choice. What do I want to do? Do I want to get better? Do I want to stay where I am? Do I just want to be like, yep, that's it, I'm done? You know? But it's really a matter of just being really real with yourself and learning your truth, then owning your truth, and then making that decision to grow from your truth.
Wow. So in writing Better Than Okay, what would you say was the most difficult part about completing this book?
I read it again, I read it again, and the most difficult part was the last round of revision. I almost hit the wall.
Wow.
I almost just killed the whole thing. And I had to have a conversation with a real dear friend that said, Zaundra, your whole goal and the purpose of this book was not about you. Now you're making it about you. This was about those people that are waiting for your story. This is about those people that are hurting that need to read this story. It's not about you. And that's when I jumped in.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
So to answer your question, the hardest part was reminding myself it's not about me.
It's not about you.
The people that need the story. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now, as a divorce recovery coach of 6 years, how do you find that you work with clients that have been in the marriage for an extended period of time or for a very short length of time, or does it just vary?
It's different. Everybody goes through something. You know, some people have been married for 5 years, but they've been together for 20. You know, or something like that. And then gray divorces is the fastest growing divorce rate of all the rates. And that's people who are in their 50s and 60s and been married, you know, for however many years. And yet at that stage in life, they're getting divorced. And so for me, the work is the same. It's the same. Now, I don't have a what I do with my clients is very customized. I do a 30-minute consultation. I ask them to tell me about themselves. I listen to what's said. I listen to what's not said. And then I ask several key questions, and then I ask them if they're ready to do the work. You know, have they tried everything that they could try, and how did that work out? Okay, so are you ready?
Wow.
And, you know, and the decision is theirs. And my coaching is all online, or I use FaceTime, I use Zoom. I have clients that live in the same city that I've never even met. They just want to talk on the phone. So our coaching sessions are on the phone. I meet some clients at their attorney's office, their divorce attorney's office.
Wow. So tell me, Zaundra, is there a different approach when children are involved? Because we know that's a whole nother layer that you have to go through in that transition when there are, especially smaller children are in the picture.
Well, Dr. Sharon, there is a little bit of a different approach. You know, initially the work is the same because we have to heal you first. You're no good to your children until we get you started on your journey to healing. And then we can talk about the children. Because if you're not in the right frame of mind and not in the right emotional space, anything I say about the children, the client is not going to hear it.
Wow.
Because they're in need of their own healing first. we do, Lord knows, we will move mountains and move cars for our children. And so, that is, I don't want to say that's the easy part, but it's kind of like that's the easy part, because we're willing to do some things for our children. The most difficult part is learning how to co-parent respectfully and responsibly. That's the most difficult part. Because if you think y'all couldn't communicate while you were married, guess what, honey? It's a whole different ballgame when y'all get divorced.
Oh, my goodness. I am sure. I tell you, this is really fascinating because we know that the divorce rate is high. And we also know that many people have so many challenges going through this process. So it's wonderful that there are people out there like you, coaches, divorce recovery coach, to help individuals go through this process. So what exactly made you write the book now? Okay, you went through the divorce and you were a coach for 6 years. You've been divorced for 10 years, right?
Yep.
Okay, and so what was the turning point to say, hey, I need to put this in writing. I need to write this book.
I had actually been asked to write the book probably about 4 years ago. And this year in January, I set myself on a retreat. And you know how you set your goals at the first of the year? And the retreat was for vision casting and clarity. And so the clarity that I wanted was on the book. And I wrote down my limiting beliefs. And then on the other side, I wrote my goal, write the book. And it was all ladies, and we read out our goals, we read out our limiting beliefs, and one of the ladies came up to me at the end and said, I have a publisher for you. And I was like, what? Wow. 2 to 3 weeks later, I was on a flight headed to sign the contract.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's how it moves. When it's time, it's time, and he makes a way every time.
Wow. That is unbelievable. Wow. That is awesome. So tell your readers, tell my listeners, where can they find you? Where can they get this book? Where they can contact you if they need a divorce recovery coach? Where can they reach out to you?
Absolutely. You can reach me on Facebook at Zaundra Grant, for one. That's one route. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter at I Am Major Mark. That's IAMMAJORMARK. My website is majormark.org, MAJORMARK.org. You can find my 7-day challenge at itsjustdivorce.org, ITSJUSTDIVORCE.org. And certainly you can instant message me on Facebook. I am available. I respond usually within an hour to 2. And you can let me know, Zaundra, can you send me the book? I will send the book. I will send you a PayPal invoice. And I will even contact you. I will even reply to you and ask you a couple of questions. And then I will personally sign your book with an encouraging message in the book for you. Yeah, you can order it from Amazon, but it won't have a personal message from me.
Right. And all of Zaundra's information will be on the show notes. So if you didn't catch that, you can definitely click on the show notes and you'll see all of her contact information. Zaundra, if there was one thing that you wanted to leave with the listeners, leave with the readers that you would like for them to get out of your book, Better Than Okay, what would it be?
If you're ready and willing to do the work required to become stronger as a result of your divorce, contact me. I'm here to support you, offer encouragement and hope. Just ping me, Facebook, instant message me, hit me on Twitter. I'm here to offer support and encouragement.
I love it. And I love the fact that you say divorce is not the end. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really thank you, Zaundra, because this, I'm sure, has resonated with so many of the listeners out there who are either going through it, contemplating, and just need to speak to someone. And so I hope that if that's you, you reach out to Zaundra and actually purchase her book, go on her website, purchase Better Than Okay. I appreciate the time that you spent here with me. Thank you so much, Zaundra.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sharon, for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely. And this is Dr. Sharon, host and creator of Write the Book Now interview and podcast show, reminding you, don't wait, write the book now.
Twitter.
Twitter.
And if you're contemplating becoming a published author,
Go ahead and write the book now.